Hello, hello, hi, folks. Welcome. Happy Thursday. In hopes that you squeezed more out of your day than the day squeezed out of you. Welcome. Good to see you. Um, it's at a decent hour, not closer to midnight, if you would. It is 10:40, so it's not too bad. I didn't do too bad. I have an interesting one for you today. Do, do you know those folks that like complain about everything? Man, this thing is in my eye. That they complain about everything. I just complained about the light. So you got to notice. I just complained about the light. But you know those folks that complain like about everything? Hi, Ali John. How are you? Welcome. Good to see you. So you know those folks that like complain about everything, like they complain and it's like you see them, you already know they're gonna complain. It's like this. It's like, do you have that Uncle Bob or that grandpa that every time you see them, they tell you the same story, right? I had this wonderful, great. Okay, so he was my dad's great uncle. Yeah, and he actually lived to be 103 years old. Hi, Abson John. How are you? Welcome. Good to see you. Right. So he got to live about 100. Well, not about. He was, I think, 103 or 104. One of the most incredible guys that I had met. And I met him here in the US, and I didn't get to spend a whole lot of time with him. Just about, about 3-4 years, and he was gone. But every time I sat with him, every time I sat with this guy, he would tell me the same stories, right? He would tell me the same stories. Now, the first couple of times, it was pretty exciting, right? I mean, I'm like, wow, that's pretty exciting. I mean, the guy's 100 years old, right? Like a century old, right? Like a century. So really exciting stuff. And this guy was just built like a mountain. Like he worked out. This guy was just very unique. But so he would tell the same stories. After a while, I was like, okay, let me share this with you. If you're gonna be complaining, yeah, you heard me. If you're gonna be complaining and you want your complaining to be actually effective, you heard me. If you want an effective complaining, okay, you gotta put this, what I'm gonna share with you, into practice, because it ain't gonna work otherwise. Okay, so I'll give you a story. And the story goes like this. A speaker, he gets up in front of a crowd, and he starts by telling a joke. He tells a joke, everybody laughs, it's a good time. He pauses, and then he tells the same joke exactly the same way again. Still the crowd laughs, he pauses, and then he tells the same joke exactly the same way for the third time, right? And this time, not a lot of people laugh, just a few laugh, still kind of laugh. And then he pauses, and then he says to the audience, I started by telling you the same joke, the same exact joke, the same exact way, and I said it 3 different times. The first time was real funny. A lot of people laughed. Pretty much everybody laughed. The second time, it was still kind of funny. Some people still laughed. But the third time, it's like, how many more times is he going to tell this joke? I mean, it doesn't get to be that funny anymore, right? It loses its oomph, Does that make sense? So if it loses its oomph, then it loses its power. It loses its effectiveness, right? So if I'm going to tell the same joke over and over again, after a while, to the same crowd, everybody's going to be like, dude, you got to change tunes. That tune is what? Old. Let me switch the screen for you. How many things have you been complaining about that are just old? You've been complaining about them over and over and over and over and over again. You just got annoyed by me saying over 5 times. You just got annoyed. Imagine how people feel about you complaining to them all the time, right? Or maybe not all the time, half the times, 3/4 of the time. It doesn't matter how many times. Does that make sense? If you're going to repeat the same behavior over and over again, it's going to get redundant. It's going to get redundant. People are going to tune out. It's like, dude, change your tune. It ain't going to be the same. Look, even if I want to share the greatest story, I got to change my tune a little bit or change my audience, right? So if you're going to be complaining and you're going to be doing it over and over again, and it's going to be about the same thing, about life, about work, about relationship, about business, about side business, about whatever it may be, right? If you're going to complain about it all the time, our business is not going good, people are not buying. I don't know enough people. Let me tell you something. These little Reese's Pieces, I'm sorry. Game over. Those things are so money. Anyway, I digress. I had maybe before the live. Anyway, it's not going to be as effective. People are going to tune out. People are not going to be interested in hearing your stuff over and over again, right? Because it's going to drain them. It's going to drag them down. Drags yourself down if you complain in front of the mirror to yourself, like out loud, like you would complain to like a friend. Stand in front of a mirror and nag and complain about whatever you were going to complain about to your friend in front of a mirror to yourself. See how long you're going to last hearing your own crap. Sometimes when I talk to myself, like all the time, sometimes when I talk to myself, and I find my thoughts kind of just go where I don't want them to go, I have to catch myself. I have to stop, right? I have to say, stop. I have to tell that to myself, right? Why? Because it helps. Because I have to stop myself. Who else is going to stop me, right? So just understand, if you want, practice it. Stand in front of a mirror and like you would talk to a friend and just complain, like about life, about everything, and see how long you're going to stand there and do that. Even we get annoyed of ourselves, right? when complaining over, it's like you tell yourself, it's like, stop it already. Enough with this stuff. But then when we go out there, we just dump everything on everybody else. And here's what I want to share with you. It's not just about dumping all that on everybody else. It's also, and I want you to really pay attention to this. And it's also, by you doing that, you're putting it out there in the universe. You're giving it life. You're giving it voice. You're giving it life. That's a no good thing. Okay? I do my best to catch myself. Excuse me. I'm not at a point where I can say, I don't have any of that. I'm not there yet. Maybe I'll get there. That would be amazing. But that's not where I am right now. So when I find myself going at it with myself and complain about things, I have to catch myself and I have to stop myself. And I ask you to do the same thing. Remember, your joke is not going to be funny to the same audience every time. Every time you go to the same party and you tell the same joke, people are going to say, oh my God, here comes Bob again with his joke. Or here comes Bob again with... So, point is, listen to me. Stop it. Stop it. Don't give it life. Don't give it any energy at all. And by it, I mean you're complaining, you're blaming, you're nagging, you're just putting it out there. Listen, I'm not saying life is perfect. I've talked about this in my other lives, and I talk about this all the time, and you guys know I believe this. There are people who don't have any problems. I can tell you that. There are people who have no problems. There are people who don't complain about anything at all. There are people like that. They're dead. The only people who have no issues, nothing on their plate, are 6 feet under ground. They're no longer with us. Everybody's got stuff. Are you kidding? Everybody's got stuff. If everyone wanted to, they could write a book on complaining. I believe that. I could write a book on complaining. I could. I do my best not to, you know. And I ask you to do the same thing. Listen, there's no like, this is not like a competition. It's not a competition of who can complain more, you know, or me or you. Let's sit in front of each other and let's see who complains more. Listen, it's not like, that's not a competition. This is not what you want to sign up for. Like Jim Rohn used to say, don't sign up for that class, right? So stop it. If you find yourself carrying a thought, stop it. If it's a complaint, if it's a nag, if it's going to drag you down, if it's going to stop you, if it's going to throw a curveball at you, stop it. Catch yourself. Be conscious of that. And catch yourself. And remember this. Like Elisa said it too. You're not going to listen to yourself, nag to yourself for a very long time. Keep that in mind as you go out there and start complaining and nagging and just dumping all that stuff on other people, right? So hopefully you got some love, some inspiration, some value. I think this is important because, like I said, this is crazy that I'm sharing this with you, but even effective complaining, it doesn't work like that. So hopefully you got some love, some inspiration, some value, enough to say, I gotta share this stuff. Maybe tag a couple people to this or share it on your wall. Do what you gotta do. Spread the love. You feel me? And I gotta get your feedback. Let me know what you're thinking. Well, let me know what Your thoughts are, hey, is this good? Does this work for you? Does that principle work for you? Can you kind of grab it and let it marinate for a while and just kind of entertain that idea? Drop your thoughts and feedback below. I appreciate that. Let this feed grow. And remember, if you share, you show that you care. Until tomorrow, where we do it all over again. Merci, merci. Much love.